Hi, welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to pause, take a moment to breathe, reconnecting mind, body, and spirit. Backdrop is a little different today. We're in the process of moving, so we're doing what we got to do. And today I'm going to be talking about faith, and not necessarily in the religious sense, but just why faith is so important to have, and a strong faith at that, because you can have faith but you can have a weak faith, and just why that's so important where you are journeying back to yourself, when you are learning to trust yourself again, or really doing some deep inner work in changing or transforming or healing or whatever it is that you're doing. Faith is a really, really important key component. And before we talk about that, I want to talk about the card that we pulled. So I pre-shuffled a card and we got flowers bloom when you smile. And I'll put a picture on the screen. And this is just, this is an affirmation deck. So there wasn't any description with it, but flowers bloom when you smile. It's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think in general, it's just saying, there's positivity when you smile. There's positive energy when your face lights up, when the corners of your mouth turn up and you smile at someone or something, or smile at yourself. Flowers bloom when you smile. I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but just to say, life happens. Flowers blooming, that's them living, that's them growing, and life is happening. And I think the card is just saying that we should just smile more often. Outside of healing, outside of it all, we should just be smiling more often. I think it's hard to hold a negative vibration when you're smiling. It's hard to be angry and be sad when you're smiling. I think, and just to get in that practice, I would even go as far as to say that the world is a better place. If not saying that smiling would just magically fix us, but I think so. And it just gives warm, friendly vibes when you're smiling at people. You don't want to walk around frowning. You don't want to walk around sad, crying, tears, depressed, angry, anxious. Smile. Smile. On touchedbygrace.blog, which will be in the description, Grace writes a post kind of addressing the card in a different way, in a very unique way, let's say. This one was hard when me and her were collaborating on this. This one was hard because it doesn't really give you much. It's just like flowers bloom when you smile. Do with that what you will. No book, no description, no deeper meaning. Like, you make the deeper meaning. What does that mean? And so she made her own deeper meaning. So go check that out. It's on medium.com. The link will be in the description, touchedbygrace.blog. And then to talk about faith. So I don't want to approach this from a religious standpoint, but I think it's easy to go there. So I looked at the definition, and in the religious sense, a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. And then the regular definition, the noun, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And I think the key thing there is without proof. I think the Bible verse is faith is trusting in the evidence of the unseen, essentially. I didn't get the words right, but trusting in something that you can't see, believing with your full entire being with complete confidence that you trust this thing or you trust this person, having faith. Is it hard? I don't think it should be. Because essentially it's just like trust. Complete trust or confidence. Some people find it hard to trust. Some people find it easy to trust. I'm the type of person, I trust you until you show me a reason not to trust you. I don't feel like you have to really earn my trust, because I think everyone is inherently trustworthy. I haven't done anything to you. You haven't done anything to me. We haven't really interacted. Why do you have ulterior motives to harm me or to not want the best for me? So I'm looking at everybody, obviously using my discernment and keeping my eyes and my ears open. But just inherently trusting, because I feel like I'm trustworthy. I also think it's a mirror thing. I think people who don't really trust easily, and this is just an opinion, I think people who don't really trust easily probably are not trustworthy, or they have a hard time putting their trust in people, putting their trust in themselves. Because at the end of the day, I think the way we view trust has a lot to do with ourselves. If I trust myself, if I keep my word to myself, if I do what I say I'm going to do, if I show up when I say I'm going to show up, if I produce what I say I'm going to produce, then I trust myself. I know that when I say something, I mean it. I know that when I want to do something, it gets done. I trust myself. But if I'm breaking promises to myself, and not even promises, if I'm breaking just little agreements, if I'm not keeping my word, as they say in the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word. Impeccable with your word. If I'm not keeping my word to myself, and I say I'm going to go work out, but then I don't, and I say I'm going to start this diet, but then I don't, and I say I'm going to complete these goals, but I don't, what am I really saying? There's a lot of things you're saying. You're saying that you're not worth keeping a commitment. You don't feel worthy enough to follow through and do the thing that you said you were going to do. So I think when we adopt this kind of character of not keeping our word to ourselves and not honoring our commitments and doing the things we said we're going to do, our faith in ourselves is very low. Like, the bar is very, very low, because you can't even keep a commitment to yourself. How can you keep a commitment to another person? And so I also think about this in terms of relationships, like being faithful. Obviously, in the realm of marriage and relationships and partnership, unless you have an open marriage or you're poly or whatever, I think it's a kind of an unspoken thing. If you do believe in monogamy, faithfulness, that is a big thing that's on the table. Faithfulness falls in line with loyalty, falls in line with not committing infidelity. And I think at the root of that is having faith, having complete and trust and total confidence that this person is not going to be unfaithful, that this person is not going to cheat on me, that this person is not going to betray me, that this person is not going to lie to me. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you can be trustworthy, when you have a lot of trust in your friendships. I think trust and faith are like synonyms. When you have a lot of faith in the people that you have around you, when you have a lot of faith in your abilities, your career, your job, your dreams, your goals, your purpose, and when they're faith filled, when you're full with a lot of faith, there's no doubts. There should be no doubts. I think when you do faith properly, there's no doubts, because if you have full and total complete confidence, where's the room for doubt? There isn't any room. So I think when you're doubting something, or when you're anxious about something, or maybe you don't know how things are going to go, ye have little faith. Ye have little faith. And I think it doesn't serve us to have little faith about anything. And I think it's also kind of synonymous with being delusional. Like, I think in our parents, in our grandparents' generation, like, they had the church, they had religion, they had, not that we don't, we have the church, we have religion, we have God, we have all the things, but I think the times are very different now. A lot of new age philosophy, a lot of new age spirituality, a lot of people who are veering away from the church and think that religion is corruption. So I think it's very different. But for them, they were able to put their faith in God, to put their faith in the Bible, in the Quran, to put their faith in life, in nature, in yoga, in wisdom above their own thoughts. They were able to put their faith. They don't know how it's going to work out, but God is going to work it out. I don't know how it's going to work out, but God is going to work it out. That's some strong faith, because not only are you believing in something that you have no evidence of, you're believing a higher power, God, creator, source, to take care of whatever your needs are, to meet whatever your needs are. Someone that you can't see, something that you can't see, believing in something that you don't know how is going to come to pass, but you give it to God, you surrender, and you keep the faith. You keep the faith that this thing is going to happen. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know the timing, but I know in my bones, because I have so much faith that this is going to happen. And I think that's the equivalent to our being delusional. And quite literally, not having any basis or reasoning or logic why this thing should work out, why I should become who I want to become, why this should happen for me, why I should get this job, why I should move to this place. We don't have any earthly idea how this is going to happen, when this is going to happen, why it should happen. But I just know in my delusional brain that this is all going to work out, that everything is always working out for me. That's our faith. Whether we're putting it in something or not, that's per individual. But I think it's the same thing. I think it's just, can you hold belief? Can you hold, no, not even belief, because faith goes beyond belief. A belief is something that you have to reinforce and like prove to yourself that you know. Faith, you don't need any evidence. There's no evidence, but it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And I think that's such a powerful place to be, especially when you're in a time of healing, especially when you're in a time of kind of just being raw and vulnerable with your emotions and getting back to yourself. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. When you start doing this work, when you start doing the inner work, sometimes you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's very dark. Sometimes it's very, very, very dark. And you don't know when it's going to end, and you don't know when it's going to be better, and you don't know how you're going to make it out, how you're going to be okay. But that faith in what you can't see, that unshakable confidence that everything is going to be okay and I'm going to make it out on the other side of this, that is necessary. That is absolutely imperative to make it out. Because other than that, what are you holding on to? Negativity, doubt, past situations, logic. Like, depending on what you want to do in life, you really have to defy logic. And I think faith defies logic. So I'm moving, prime example. And this time I didn't use a realtor, and it was a DIY situation. And I wasn't getting nervous, but the move-in date or move-out date was approaching, and I still hadn't found an apartment yet, but I had faith. I had to keep the faith, and whether it was going to happen or not, I just had this confidence that even if it's the day before I move out, I know I'm going to find a place. I know I have to find a place. I literally have to find a place to live. But they just all weren't meeting my standards. Like some were okay, and then they would have something wrong, and then some would have been the right location, and they would have something wrong. And so I just kept weighing the odds, and I could have said, oh, well, let me pick something. This is good enough. But no, I kept the faith. I stood my ground, and I said, okay, this is not right. This is not right. This is right. Like, I didn't know where I was going to live, but I found a place, and that was that. And maybe that's a small example, but I think, it could have went either two ways. I could have been panicking, stressing, worrying that I wasn't going to find a place, but I wasn't. I just had faith, and I had confidence that something is going to show up, something's going to happen for me. And I think when we move through life like that, it just makes handling things a little easier. It's nice when you can attach it to God, if you believe in God, because it's something outside of you. And it almost takes a weight and the pressure off you. Like, you're not making this happen. You're having faith that it's being taken care of for you, which is a nice place to be. But on the other side of that, I think we do just kind of have to just have faith that things are going to work out. So I just think faith is a really huge key when you're when you need to do anything, really, because we nothing's promised. Tomorrow's not promised. I have to have faith that I'm going to go to sleep and wake up tomorrow. I have to have faith that, unless I'm the boss and I'm the manager and the CEO, that I'm not going to get fired. Like, yeah, I can be really, really great at my job, but people get laid off all the time. Like, things happen. I have to have faith that my friends aren't going to backstab me, that they're not going to betray me. Like, I have to have faith in that. I have to have faith in my connections and my relationships and my job and my work that I'm doing. How do I know that any of this is going to amount to anything? I don't, but I have faith. And I think that's enough to keep you going. And I think it's important to distinguish hope from faith. Let's see what hope means. So hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. So I feel like when you're hoping, it's like, yeah, I hope this is going to happen. That's my expected outcome, but I don't know. And you kind of keep your options open. Not that you're doubting, you're hopeful, you're excited, you're expecting, you're in an expected place. But faith takes it a step further, and it's like, no, I'm not hoping. I'm not seeing. oh, maybe this will work out, maybe it won't. No, I know. I have full confidence and full trust that this thing is going to happen. And that's a bold thing to have. That's a bold statement to make because we don't know. We don't know. We can't tell the future. We can't see ahead of the timeline. We have no idea. But I think when you are bold enough to step out on faith and take a leap of faith and walk in faith, you open the door for powerful things to happen. Maybe everything that you ever wanted and wished and dreamed is not going to happen, but a lot more is probably going to happen if you do that versus if you were to sit back and just sit in a hope, in a wish, in a dream. No, you have to have faith. And faith without works is dead. So it's not just, oh, I know it's going to happen for me. Oh, I know God's going to work it out. I know everything is going to work out. Yes, everything is always working out for me and everything is happening in divine timing, but you still have to do something. You still have to move. Like, you still have to make moves, essentially. You still have to make moves. God can't do all the work. The people around you can't do all the work. You have to do something. So have faith, have unshakable faith and assurance and trust and confidence in whatever it is you need to have faith for, but also do everything to the best of your ability to make sure it all works out. So that's what I got off faith today. And until next time.